Risk assessment and NEPA. Risk considerations include many of the routine and traditional steps in a NEPA analysis. Practitioners often use risk considerations when they make routine decisions. Here are some examples of decisions that include implied risk. Agency personnel choose to use either a categorical exclusion analysis or an environmental assessment to satisfy NEPA requirements. Either choice introduces the risk that internal or external critics can challenge the chosen level of NEPA analysis as inadequate. External critics might even choose to appeal or litigate the agency's chosen NEPA process. Agency personnel conduct internal and, if appropriate, external scoping. Deciding whom to contact and whom not to contact reflects the agency's perception of risk. Sometimes an agency limits external scoping when risk is deemed to be low. In other cases, an agency uses extensive external scoping to validate its project decisions and to protect itself from late-stage challenges to a project that seems to have high risk. Agency resource specialists decide how much and what kinds of resource analyses are appropriate. The more risk, usually the more extensive the resource analyses. As with other NEPA processes, agencies vary their resource requirements based on their perception of possible risk. An agency manager, often with input from an agency legal counsel, decides to sign off on a NEPA decision. Record of decision for an EIS, finding of no significant impact for an EA, or checklist for a categorical exclusion. This step is usually the go or no-go risk decision when the agency decides to go forward with project implementation. Challenges, either internal appeals or legal actions, follow if one or more interested or affected parties to the project object. Note that all of the preceding examples are not direct risks to resources or people. Instead, risks come from the agency's attempts to complete NEPA satisfactorily. The risk is that one or more parties object to the agency's NEPA decisions. The damage is that the NEPA process is delayed and either withdrawn or changed. So risk considerations for an agency reflect a delay in a project and, of course, damage to its credibility with its publics. Many federal actions include environmental risks. After all, risks of some degree are present in any NEPA analysis. A typical NEPA analysis begins with the current conditions under the no action alternative and measures the degree of potential environmental change under the action alternatives, especially if the possible changes are forecast to be severe and hazardous. So although not the common language in many NEPA discussions, the legal mandate of NEPA can be seen as a risk assessment activity with a focus on the potential risks to resources under any proposed federal actions. Under this risk assessment approach, agencies should explain clearly just how accurate and reliable their resource forecasts are. After all, if an agency expects an adverse impact, then it should explain how likely the adverse impact will be. Such an explanation is an obvious requirement for any risk assessment.